2025 has been a grand year for gaming. There's been insanely well-crafted games dropped left and right. Ghost of Yotei, Death Stranding 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, and the topic of today's video, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Quote many people have been throwing around when discussing this game is, "This game will be talked about for years to come," and I'm inclined to agree. The Game Awards released its nominations recently, and Expedition 33 broke the record for the most nominated game ever. It's no secret to the gaming world what a masterpiece this game is, and while I might be late to the party, I would still like to share my thoughts on the generational masterpiece that is Expedition 33. One of the many compliments this game receives is about its stellar story. It's an incredibly captivating one, with themes of family, grief, and people's sense of identity and reality. All of the themes this game covers seem so real, which contrasts with this fantastical world that Sandfall Interactive crafted. To fully understand the beauty of this game's story, we must cover it in its entirety first. The game opens up in the gorgeous town of Lumiere. We follow Gustav, an engineer and lover to Sophie. Gustav also has an adoptive little sister named Maëlle, who urges Gustav to see Sophie before the end of the festival and before she gommages. When a person gommages, they pass away due to reaching the age limit set by the paintress. The paintress marks this limit by writing a number on the monolith in the distance. After Gustav and Sophie spend their final moments together, we see everybody wash away into petals. In the beginning of the game, we understand the fragility of life in this world, and how we must cherish the little time we have with our loved ones. Relationships mean much more when you have limited time to allocate them, making you craft the strongest bonds possible. The loss of their loved ones and their grief drive Gustav, Lune, and Ciel to embark on their expedition. Every expedition is marked by the number on the monolith, making this expedition Expedition 33. Maëlle wishes to go too, as she wants an escape from the tragedy that surrounds her life in Lumiere. All these members are bonded by trauma and driven by grief to end this cycle of grief caused by the paintress. But as they get to the continent to begin their journey, they are ambushed by an old man with white hair who murders everybody else on Expedition 33. Gustav is shell-shocked and can't do anything to save anyone, but can get away. When he's alone, he attempts to take his own life but is stopped by Lune, and they continue on their journey. The white-haired man questions everything they understand about the world and only inspires more questions. How is he so old? How did he avoid his gommage? Is he connected to the paintress? Gustav is determined to find Maëlle, but Lune is determined to finish their original mission and defeat the paintress. Here, we initially see insights into the complex characters of Expedition 33. Gustav is set on protecting Maëlle, and that remains his priority, while Lune is calculated and curious, while determined on killing the paintress. The story section of this video could literally be 10 hours long, so I will try to shorten it to important story beats. We regroup with Maëlle in a manor and find her being taken care of by some weird shadowy figure called the Curator, who assists us on this journey and serves as a way to upgrade our weapons and resources. We also find Ciel in a Gestrel village, and we continue along our journey to the Stonewave Cliffs, where we encounter the white-haired man again. His name is Renoir. But this time, Gustav's luck has run out, and he's killed by Renoir. Another man with tainted hair stops Renoir before allowing Maëlle to escape. The tainted man's name is Verso, and he aims to help the expeditioners on their quest to kill the paintress. Verso is a very mysterious figure, and is incredibly closed off from the rest of the group even though he puts on a social front. The rest of the group has a suspicion in the back of their mind of Verso, since they don't even know why he'd help them, and what he gets out of it. Verso suggests that they should recruit his best friend, Monoko, and then afterwards target the paintress's heart in order to weaken her. The paintress's heart is located in Old Lumiere, a place that was a part of Lumiere before the Fracture. The Fracture was this worldwide event that split the world's land into the continent, which our characters are currently on, and Lumiere. We'll talk about this more later on since it's pretty crucial to the world of Expedition 33. While they go to destroy the paintress's heart, we learn that Renoir is Verso's father, and Renoir is also telling us that there's more to Verso than meets the eye, and he's withholding certain truths. This event confirms our suspicions of Verso and erases any trust we had in him. The plan to kill the Paintress's heart ultimately fails, and the expedition regroup to discuss a different plan. A new plan forms, which is to kill two Axons, which are incredibly powerful creatures, in order to craft a weapon to pierce the barrier between the continent and the monolith. The only person that could craft such a weapon is the Curator, and the Curator specifically chooses to craft a weapon for Maëlle. While they're at camp, Maëlle sees this vision of a girl with white hair and a scarred face. It is revealed that this is Verso's sister, Alicia. Later on, Alicia secretly hands Verso a letter, which he saves for later. After defeating both the Axons, the barrier piercer is crafted, and the expedition is as close as they've ever been. After they get through the barrier, the group encounters Renoir again. Him and Verso argue about what they're doing and what it actually means, but it makes no sense to the rest of the expeditioners. However, all they can think about is avenging Gustave and are ready to battle Renoir. After defeating him, even more arguing ensues between Verso and Renoir until the Curator appears. Renoir tells the Curator, "We finally meet," and argues with him about what aiding the expeditioners will actually achieve. The Curator assists Maëlle in killing Renoir, and right after, Lune asks if Maëlle could do that again. Lune observes the moment and wants to capitalize on this newfound power of Maëlle's to achieve her goal. She doesn't bother with all of this emotional baggage that was just unpacked between all of these people around her. She only wishes to achieve her goal of killing the Paintress. As they venture forward, they eventually encounter the Paintress and finish her off and finally achieve what they set out for. It is revealed that the Paintress is actually Verso and Alicia's mother, and her name is Aline. This obviously comes to a big shock to everyone, as it leaves a lot to explain for why Verso wanted to defeat the Paintress in the first place. They return home to Fanfare. This special group of people have finally saved everyone from tragedy and did the impossible. While it took a sacrifice from Gustave, it was worth it in the end for everyone else. During the festival, Verso reads the letter from Alicia that she gave him earlier. In the letter, Alicia explicitly says that this is meant for Maëlle, and explains that the Paintress was the one keeping everyone from gommaging, and that the years written on the monolith was a warning to everyone to show how long they had left. Renoir was the culprit for who's been gommaging everyone, and the Paintress used her dwindling power to protect everyone else. She also states that Maëlle is the ideal version of her. Maëlle is Alicia without any scars or afflictions. It was who she was meant to be. Alicia wishes that their family could find another way to go about things, and solve their issues without all of this death. Verso throws the letter in the water, and sits there as everyone in the festival is gommaged except him. After the cutscene, we get a flashback in which we learn that Verso died in a fire saving Alicia, which also led to her scars. The fire was Alicia's fault, and the rest of her family blamed her for it. We see that both Renoir and Aline are battling inside of a canvas. This canvas was the world that the whole game takes place in, and it's the real Verso's canvas from when he was a kid. This whole world is his creation, and it also contains the last bit of his soul. Clair, Alicia's sister, tells her that she needs to go inside of the canvas to get them both out of it so they could end this fight once and for all. Alicia wishes to enter the canvas to end the battle, but also to live a life in which the fire never even happened. As she enters the canvas, she's overpowered by Aline, and instead of entering the canvas as Alicia, she's reborn as a girl with an untouched face named Maëlle. Thus contextualizing why Maëlle was able to see visions of Alicia and had the ability to gommage Renoir. She remembers why all of this started in the first place. Aline wanted to escape the grief of losing her son, Verso, so she clinged on to the last bit of him she had left. She entered the canvas and painted a new version of her family, a version where the fire only affected Alicia as she blamed her for everything. She didn't paint herself as Aline though, as she intended to live amongst her new painted family, so she became the Paintress. But Renoir knew the dangers of staying in a canvas for too long, so he entered the canvas to kick Aline out and then destroy the canvas so the family could move on from the tragedy that was Verso's death. Two very conflicting ways of handling grief. One chooses to escape it, and one chooses to completely forget the tragedy ever happened. Both are incredibly rooted in their ways of grieving and cannot see through the other person's eyes. They both wish the best for their family and love everyone dearly. They just have different ways of handling their loss. When Maëlle wakes up after being dommaged and regaining her memories, she begs Renoir not to destroy the canvas because it's her home. But Renoir recognizes how dangerous leaving the canvas could be to Maëlle and cannot lose her like he lost Aline. Using her new powers, Maëlle resurrects her group and formulates a plan to stop Renoir from destroying the canvas by kicking him out. When the plan succeeds, Maëlle promises to bring everyone back using her powers. Ciel could get back her lost husband, and Lune could see her parents again, but most importantly, they could all be with Gustave again. Lune confronts Verso about not telling everyone that killing the paintress would also kill everyone else. When the group confronts Renoir, it is revealed that he was the creator this whole time, and who was assisting them along the way to stop Aline. In the midst of their battle, Aline re-enters the canvas and helps the group battle against Renoir. Aline entering the canvas after being in there for so long is incredibly dangerous to her health, and both Verso and Renoir know it. Aline wishes to atone for her sins and make up for it by helping Alicia/Maëlle defeat Renoir, and also wants to keep the canvas for both of them. When they defeat Renoir, Maëlle convinces Renoir to leave the canvas by telling him that she'll follow soon after, but Verso notices that she's lying to him and wishes to stay in the canvas till her final days. Maëlle grieves just like Aline, and Verso doesn't want this cycle of grief to continue any longer, so he decides that he must destroy the canvas once and for all, killing him and everyone else. At this point, it is up to the player to decide which ending to choose, so I will be covering the Verso one first since I think it's the better ending. Verso thought that by defeating the paintress that there would be a new hope inspired in Maëlle, someone who could finally end this long battle in the family and end the cycle of grief. But when he saw how she wished to live and die inside the painting, continuing the cycle, he had enough. Verso did not want to be at the center of all this conflict and was tired of it, exhausted from both sides being blind to what they're actually doing and thinking that they're the solution to the problem when in reality, they're the cause. Most importantly, he wished to leave the last bit of Verso's soul at rest. He tells a little Verso to stop painting and that it's over. No more carrying everyone else's grief and the expectations of being something he cannot, the real Verso. This painted version of him has been crafted as a tool to cope, and he was done being used. When he destroys the canvas, he sees everyone fade away and be disappointed in him, but he has no regrets. His choice ultimately led to his family moving on from Verso's death and ending the cycle of grief, a life to love. Next is Maëlle's ending. As Maëlle defeats Verso in battle, he starts pleading to be put to rest. He pleads to stop little Verso from painting more. Maëlle tries to comfort him with words since she knows she can't push herself to let Verso die. Verso continues pleading, but to empty ears. Verso dies in Maëlle's arm as he tells her,
Please. I don't want this life.
Stop saying that.
I don't want this life. I don't want this life.
The burden of carrying everyone else's grief has pushed Verso to his limit, and even though he can't save himself, he still remains hopeful that Maëlle can be the one to save him. After the cutscene ends, we see everyone back from the dead, including Gustave. They all sit in a theater to watch Verso play the piano, but his body language shows his disappointment with his life. Yet, he has no other choice than to play along with Maëlle's twisted desires. A life to paint. From what I understand, there is no canon ending, but to me, I feel as if Verso's ending speaks more to the objective of the whole game. Initially, we set out to break the cycle of death from the paintress. However, that journey in itself was part of a different cycle, a cycle of grief. The same cycle that Verso aimed to end when he kicked Aline out of the canvas. Once he saw that neither Maëlle nor Renoir understood what kept the cycle turning, he decided to end it himself. His journey is what I took away from the game, to not continue in cycles that causes harm. I do understand Maëlle's point of view as well. She lost her brother twice and wishes to live with him again. She also seeks comfort in the canvas since it provides her the perfect body, without the emotional and physical scars from the fire. If I lost my brother and had the power to bring him back, I would act no different. And if I could live the rest of my days in an ideal life with my loved ones, it's the perfect world. It is selfish since she ignores the pain that is caused by her decision to her real family outside of the canvas. While selfish, she isn't totally in the wrong either, since she is bringing back the lives of many who died due to this cycle of grief from her family. Whether the lives matter since they are inside of the canvas is a topic for another debate, that could probably make this video 7 more hours. You can see and understand both sides of the ending. It just matters which one resonates with your character more and what you think is right. Verso chooses to accept the death of the real Verso and move on, while Mael wishes to escape from her reality and grief. The irony of making a game about escaping reality when video games serve the purpose of escaping reality is worth noting. This story is one that will be talked about for decades to come, and is the obvious Game of the Year winner for me. While the story's writing is phenomenal, we should also focus on the beautiful characters' writing. All of the characters in this game are so developed and complex to the point where it feels like everyone is the protagonist of the story. Each one has their own unique traits that make you remember each and every one of them. We should start off with Gustav. I don't have much to say about him since he really only appeared in Act 1, however he is still really interesting. He struggles at the beginning of the story and makes the game feel grounded even though it's full of monsters and gestrels. He experiences shell shock in our first encounter with Renoir, and right after, he almost takes his life. These are incredibly real reactions to an insanely fantasy event. It makes you empathize with him and even makes his death hit harder. His relationship with Mael perfectly encapsulates that older brother, younger sister dynamic. He would throw away the whole mission just to save Mael and return to the island because even though for him he only has 1 year left to live, she can live out the rest of her life. And that's enough for him. Mael is incredibly complicated because, well, she's 2 characters in one. To differentiate, I'll call the Mael from the start of the game Pre-Memories Mael, and the Mael from Act 3 Post-Memories Mael. Pre-Memories Mael is someone who feels trapped inside of Lumiere. She goes on her expedition when she has so many years left to live due to this fact. She was orphaned at the age of 3 and never really fit in anywhere, so finally having a group of friends she could connect with so deeply means a lot to her. Even if she was a bit of a loner, she's still a strong and independent person. She's no damsel in distress, and Gustav knows that. When her character really takes a leap is when she gains her memories back. To fully understand Post-Memories Mael, we need to turn back the clock to Alicia's life. Alicia is part of the Desandre family, which are a painter family, meaning they have special powers that allow them to create beings and creations within a canvas. The Desandre family includes Alicia, Verso, Clair, Renoir, and Aline. Aline is the head of the Painters Council, meaning she is definitely powerful and respected. There's another group called the Writers, which not much is known about them and it isn't too important to the story, so don't worry about it. The Writers and Painters have a feud between them, and the Writers tricked Alicia, which resulted in the Desandre Manor catching on fire. Verso saves Alicia, which results in his death and the grief that starts this whole story. Alicia is left with scars and lost the ability to speak, while her family blames her for Verso's death. Every time Aline looked at Alicia, she was reminded of Verso's death and couldn't handle her grief, so she entered Verso's canvas. Alicia feels guilty for everything, not only Verso's death, but also pushing Aline into his canvas. The clashing identities between the carefree and loose Mael and the shy and reserved Alicia creates for an interesting character when the two are essentially fused. After getting her memories back, she continues to be called Mael, since she feels more comfortable in her skin on the canvas. It shows you how much she hates her life on the outside and foreshadows her decision to live and die inside of the canvas. She's experienced so much trauma as both Pre-Memories Mael and Alicia that you can't help but sympathize with her throughout the whole story. When she wishes for a brother again, you wish for one too. You love seeing her with Verso since he fills up the void that Gustav's death left in her heart. While it isn't the same dynamic, you can tell she feels a similar way about Verso. This is only built upon more with Post-Memories Mael since it is her brother, albeit a painted version of him. Verso is my favorite character and a super complex one at that. Just like Mael, there are 2 different versions of him, so I'll refer to the Verso in real life as Verso and the Verso inside of the canvas as painted Verso. While Verso doesn't appear much in the story, nor have much information, he is integral to the story. Without his death, none of these events would have happened, and it adds more tragedy to Painted Verso's life. Painted Verso's whole life has been out of his control. His inception was due to Aline wanting to cope with Verso's death. After Renoir came to the canvas, he painted the fracture, which split apart the whole world inside of the canvas. It also split up Painted Verso and Painted Renoir from the Paintress. This caused both Painted Verso and Painted Renoir to go on an expedition to retrieve the Paintress, marking the first expedition, Expedition 0. They both encountered Clair while she was in the canvas and who told them both the truth. They both aren't the real versions of themselves, and Renoir is a real person gommaging everyone. Due to the paintress's dwindling power as she gets less healthy, Renoir can erase her creations that are over 100 years old. The paintress started warning her creations about the time they have left by writing it on the monolith. After Clair told them this, she tried erasing them along with the rest of Expedition Zero. The paintress wanted to spend all of her days with her painted family, so she made them immortal, allowing them to survive Clair's attack. After returning to Lumiere, Painted Verso and Painted Renoir try to tell everyone the truth, but as they are the only survivors of Expedition Zero, they looked incredibly suspicious. They were attacked and pushed out of Lumiere. With the newfound info, Painted Renoir was set on protecting the paintress from all threats. Painted Verso thought differently and wished to kick the paintress out of the canvas due to her dwindling health, causing them to split apart. Painted Verso feels the weight of responsibility to save his mother with no one to help him, while he has the pressure of living up to Verso stacking on top of that. To pursue his goal, he had to give up the only life he ever knew and abandon his father and sister. Being at the forefront of this cycle of grief allows him to have a different perspective on it, letting him see how much damage it's really doing to everyone. His journey with Expedition 33 further compounds this when he sees how the tragedy of Gommages has affected these people. His relationships with them are very unique in their own right. When Alicia came inside of the canvas and became Maëlle, Clair met with Painted Verso and entrusted him with watching Maëlle. He was the one to save Maëlle when Expedition 33 got ambushed by Renoir and took her to the manor. While you may feel bad for Verso and feel like he's the victim, he openly admits to letting Gustave die in fear of Maëlle growing too close to him. He says it's because he wouldn't be sure if she would want to kick the paintress out of the canvas if it meant that Gustave would die, but I think it's a bit of jealousy too. He watched Maëlle live her life in Lumiere while having a brother. It would be foolish to assume he didn't wish that was him and Alicia. Since Maëlle is essentially Alicia, he probably saw Gustave as competition deep down. Although, he understands what it means to lose a sibling and respects Maëlle enough to help her bury Gustave and grieve. His goal might seem like a heroic one, but he manipulates and tricks Expedition 33 into helping him the whole time. He knew the truth about Renoir and the one gommaging everyone, but withheld the truth because he knew they wouldn't help him defeat the paintress and save his mother. It might be the lesser of two evils, however, it's still not the right thing to do. He is an incredibly complex character, and that is added upon with Ben Starr's wonderful performance. It goes without saying that this whole cast knocked it out of the park and truly pushed video game acting to its limits. Going back to his motives, in a side quest where Maëlle wishes to see painted Alicia, Maëlle gommages Alicia, removing her from the canvas. This angers Verso as he feels as if he had a say in the matter into whether his sister should die or not, which is an incredibly selfish thing to plead for, yet you can't help but sympathize. It was Alicia's decision and hers alone. She went out on her terms and got what she wanted, but Verso breaks down when he realizes he has no family left. He feels alone and knows Maëlle understands what that feels like, so he can't understand why she'd do that to him. Ultimately, they come to an understanding and they both move on. These situations that both Verso and Maëlle are put in seem like impossible ones to navigate. While they might not be real, they still feel so human, especially in their motives and their own respective ending. Verso fulfills what he set out for in his own selfish sacrifice. He has to give up all his loved ones just to save his mother, someone he didn't even really know. Yet, he always wanted to die. He was done with the impossible expectations set on him by everyone else. Lune and Ciel are characters that I view as intertwined. Lune is full of wonder, serious about her goals, and lacks emotional intelligence, while Ciel is incredibly sociable, carefree, and cares less about killing the paintress. Both have such a beautiful friendship that we can see develop throughout the course of the game. They both comfort each other when they are in need, the ideal version of a friendship. Lune constantly is moving at 100 miles per hour, and Ciel is the lady to calm her down. It slightly feels like there's romantic undertones between them, but maybe that's just me. Both characters also have their own unique traumas that completely shape them. Lune is the product of her parents' legacy. She feels pressured into pursuing the goal of killing the paintress at an incredibly young age. When a kid like her has no opportunity to develop social skills, you end up with someone so obsessed with her goals that she has no time to care for her friends. It's important to distinguish that she does in fact care, however, due to her purpose being so heavily ingrained into her, it's as if she was programmed to disregard everything but her goal. Ciel is a woman who lost the love of her life and the only character in the whole game to grieve normally. She doesn't let her husband's death define her, yet presented the opportunity to bring him back, she doesn't hesitate. Her carefree nature can be harmful to those around her, such as Ciel having a fling with Verso and using him. It's up to the player whether to decline her advances and confront her about being used or just go along with it. Once Ciel learns that there might be a way to bring her husband back, she just throws Verso to the side and completely disregards him, which is an incredibly ignorant and rude thing to do. Renoir and Aline as characters work exceptionally well together due to their decision throughout the game. Aline handles the tragedy of Verso's death by completely escaping her reality, but Renoir decides to confront it face front. Both of them are like any other parents and wish the best for their children, but they have different ways of going about it. Renoir wants to control everything his kids do and thinks he knows better than everyone else in his family, while Aline completely disregards everyone else. Their relationship is at the forefront of the whole story and is like what an average married couple argument is. They're both so stubborn and set in their ways, so it blinds them to seeing the other side. Both of them think they're right, and the solution to the problem is stopping the other side, no matter the cost. Renoir is much more careless about his methods to stop Aline, and he doesn't really care for Verso's canvas. He aims to destroy the canvas once he kicks Aline out of it, effectively killing everyone inside of the canvas. Like I said earlier, it's a debate whether the people inside of the canvas matter or not, so if you don't think that they do matter, Renoir's actions might not seem bad to you. To me, I think Renoir is despicable for killing everyone inside of the canvas, though I understand why he did it. He needed a way to get back at Aline since he trapped him under the monolith, so he started erasing all of her old creations. Aline is the person I align with more, although her initial motivations aren't morally correct. Disregarding her family is obviously not the right way to grieve. However, attempting to save the people's lives in the canvas is a noble act. She helps us defeat Renoir at the end of the game, atoning for her sins after she sees Alicia fall into the same cycle of grief that she did. All of these characters are truly written beautifully, and I don't think I could give you a good enough analysis as other people could, so you should watch other people's videos too. I love this game and the world Sandfall crafted so much, it would be impossible for me not to talk about it. This game truly is a masterpiece and will be talked about for years to come. Thank you guys for watching the whole way through, and I hope you all had a good one. It would help me a lot if you guys could like and subscribe. See you next time.